Last year I decided I wanted to run a half marathon, and this year I'm kind of doing it. So I guess I'm a runner now.
It's true. You make my body feel loose. You make my heart go boom.
I've always been pretty athletic. These are my new plans. From the age of 3 to about 18, I played soccer, and that was the most committed I had been to my physical wellness ever. Last year, while I was experiencing all the changes and challenges, I randomly was like, you know what? I'm gonna run a half marathon. There's something about committing to something, especially when it comes to physical wellness, that has an outcome that I really attach myself to. But of course, after Googling and figuring out what I needed to do in order to actually do a half marathon, I realized that all it required was 14 weeks of training. I'm like, cool, I'm good to go. Wrong. What I also needed was the sense of motivation. And that is something I was lacking at the time. Fast forward to this year when I was writing down my 2020 goals. Once again, I saw running a half marathon appear on the page. If it was written, I felt like, you know what? I gotta do it. And I hadn't really told anybody that was my plan. I mean, maybe my sisters. I'm not really sure. But yeah, it was a commitment I had to myself. And so I decided if I wanted to commit to something like that, like a race, I needed to commit myself to something else, which was at the time, the most accessible thing for me at the time was the gym. So strength training, going 4 times a week, and making sure that I was consistent with it. I felt like if I could commit there, I could commit to a running plan. One day, one of my classmates, hey girl, because I know she's watching, randomly DM'd me and said how proud she was that I was being so consistent in the gym. I, of course, replied. And then she sent me randomly, again, this opportunity to apply for a program called the Nike Project Fearless Chicago program, where you basically train for the new half marathon that Nike was putting on with Bank of America. So for context, Chicago always has the Bank of America marathon that happens in September. But they were launching something new that I had no idea about until I got this message from her in June 6th to be exact, called the Bank of America Half Marathon, 13.1 miles. I was kind of shook. I'm like, all right, I haven't told anybody about this. She just happens to send this to me. It might be meant to be. Like, it was training with a group of folks, getting perks from Nike, and I wasn't doing it alone. I was like, all right, this is pretty ideal. So I applied, I got accepted, and the rest was pretty much history. So here's a little snapshot into my experience. I just brushed my teeth, so don't worry about that. It's not me drooling. Today is day 1 of training for the half marathon. Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing. A lot of the people that are running are actually runners. And I run maybe like 5 minutes on the treadmill. 10. The other day I ran 20. Actually, no. The other day I walked 7, ran about 5, and then jogged the rest of the way. It doesn't matter. Regardless, really excited to get training with the Nike Project Fearless. And long sleeve shirt, because they love us out here in 30-degree weather. Okay.
pressurizing, so it's going to squeeze from the top of the ball. It's supposed to be one.
Running was a bit more unpredictable than I thought it was going to be. I thought what I learned in the gym would kind of transfer into my running program and experience. Not so much. In fact, I had to let loose all of the structure that I had put, structure and kind of like schedule and expectations I kind of set while I was training in the gym. Because running outside, especially in the middle of winter in Chicago, it's just not the same. I even got an injury, which I'm like, that's kind of cool, but kind of not, because, all right, but I feel like an athlete in some ways. And, you know, versus in the gym where I know that if I'm doing something wrong and I don't stretch a certain way, I'm likely going to get injured. With running, you can feel like everything is great, and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, I'm limping to the car. That's very weird. Where did that happen? Versus in the gym, I'm like, all right, I tweaked. I need to rest, relax, slow down, fix my form, or something of that nature. When the stay-at-home orders began, I kept running. It became an outlet for me. It was something where we were being so confined to our spaces in our homes, and really just a state of uncertainty that I was like, ooh, I could easily get caught up in this and be very anxious. So I would just run. And I wasn't really thinking about anything. I was just allowing myself to move the way I wanted to move, to just be free. And it really taught me the importance of going against the grain of my mind and going with my heart's desires, because I'm so accustomed to having these structures in place, or these plans and these workout goals and all those things. But with running, I really didn't know what was going on. Like, yeah, I was training with a group, but when the stay-at-home stuff happened, the program kind of moved digitally and they could only do so much. And then, I'm sad to say, some of you all might have heard this in one of my vlogs, if you haven't, go watch it, that they canceled the half marathon. So here I was, with no race to run, and a love for running that I couldn't even, after a while, I'm at the point where I can't even participate in it because my IT band syndrome is really getting to me. Regardless of what the reality is with me and my relationship with running now, I'll never forget the lessons that it taught me, even if it was for a short period of time. And it's not to say it's going to go away. I just really do have to take a few months off from putting the same amount of tension on my knee as I am doing hitting the pavement every day. So with that, I decided to purchase a bike. More on that soon. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or just want to talk more about running or biking or the gym or whatever, feel free to comment or hit me up. But yeah, talk to y'all later. Peace.